So today we're talking about scenarios. This is the connection that connects to last night's podcast, corresponding to artificial intelligence as the resolve to be able to develop vehicles in life to try to connect to goals through artificial intelligence agents, because agents in essence have the ability to connect something known as scenarios. Scenarios are the connection between sort of the film industry of yesterday and like using the essence of what film and the film industry and the film business can entails, combined with artificial intelligence agents to be able to combine the idea and the essence of every other business in the world, the conception and the conceptualization of a production equaling something parallel to a production of a movie production that corresponds to a script and an outline and a follow-through and a development of a story, and the script being and becoming a business, whereas like in essence the final result equals a production which is then marketed, brought to market, and in essence consumed by the greater marketplace. And this is aligned with every other product in the world to try to be able to solve a problem for a market, to be able to appease or please a market, a given market, and a given market demand that connects to or corresponds to a niche that is available based on certain market elements of demand. And so scenarios combined with artificial intelligence, more or less based on fulfilling demand and selling things, connects to the conception related to last night, related to vehicles, drawing upon global data to be able to develop vehicles, which basically is difficult to do if you're just a human being, because there's so much data in the world. That's what the connection last night in the podcast was, connecting global statistics to the vehicles, developing vehicles to be able to make processes and strategies to be able to try to align with goals, and that's why all unique goals are uniquely unique in terms of people connecting with their goals, because the vehicle is very difficult to make in terms of your daily day-to-day life in real, like IRL is something called IRL, which means the interactions of you and everyday and day-to-day life, which connects to your idea and understanding of the global data at all given times, and your resources and development that you have just connected to your attention span, which makes it difficult and distracting to develop a vehicle to try to get to a goal, because finding the best method and the methodology to get there is necessarily not known as it is with artificial intelligence agents. So agents are developing something called scenarios sometimes as they sort of get better in time, whereas they're capable of posting on social media, for example, which brings awareness to a specific goal that you have in mind to try to bring into the world, which has to do with personal branding, which is just really interesting and peculiar and nuts that artificial AI agents can do posting on the internet and can facilitate certain processes to be able to get you to like the backside of trying to get something done. But scenarios have to do with taking different aspects of life and connecting them, basically different softwares, different media, different abilities to write scripts, and then also like develop media, develop videos, for example, and post them on your behalf. So it is so multidimensional, it's just very absurd. But these vehicles connect people with their personal brand like purposes to be able to develop like franchises around their interests as a personal brand, as a human being, meaning like there's a fingerprint to every single person that's unique about every person. And so these elements can align with people's goals, but the vehicle to get there is not always clear necessarily. So AI agents are a unique way to just try to align this, and scenarios are the thing that connects AI agents and goals and outcomes, similar to an API of a person and their goals and their purpose, if you will, to all the tools in the world to be able to try to leverage digital tools to be able to just, make awareness, make a brand, and make personal branding a little bit more efficient, if you will. So scenarios are similar to scenes in a movie, basically, that add up to an ending. Pretty much, that's like the vehicle. So the vehicle, like that a main character uses in a movie is like whatever that they do in the movie, in the script, to be able to get to the end. So the idea of scenarios corresponds to, like, in the finance world, something similar to trading, and having an outcome to be able to try to like facilitate a specific ideation of a specific general idea of a conceptual outcome to give the AI agent, so it's something to work on, to develop something to be able to work in that direction, which helps people to just decide, because a lot of people have a hard time deciding in the past, because deciding is sometimes an overwhelming conceptual thing, because there's so many emotions sometimes that go into deciding, and sometimes it results in no deciding at all necessarily, and that's kind of a pain, in contrast to having something like an AI agent just to be able to decide something for you. And also develop tools to be able to try to get something done in the business world, which typically is difficult because in essence, like the same difference is there with developing a process in terms of like selling something, selling any given thing, and then deciding on and developing branding is another side of decisions that sometimes overwhelms people because there's so many choices, there's so many thoughts and things that are distractions in life that if you have 10 or 20 people in your family and all those are competing for your attention and they're weighing in on your judgments and things, that emotional interferences can take place, and therefore AI agents can develop scenarios that connect all the tools. They connect objectively so much data that corresponds to global statistics like I was talking about last night, and to be able to try to connect and just collectively make scenarios that connect in the trading world, to connect collectively in the trading world, conceptual strategy for trading in the finance markets to develop a conceivable outcome that's based on global market data and conceptual statistics, and then also in the sales world, in the world of trying to sell and make demand and create demand, develop something that corresponds to also making videos, making processes that connect to different softwares, different outlets, many media outlets in the world, many different conceptual strategies that are hinted at by subtleties in how the connection of language and discussion with the AI and the AI agents is mentioned and sent to be able to give them the instructions, the intentions and indications and feelings and subtleties to try to be able to act on your behalf. But it just allows action to be taken nonetheless by just talking to them and just giving them sort of intention to develop scenarios for the movie that connects to all people, all humans, all spirit animals that we are, and unique as people, to be able to make sort of the movie that connects to like purpose of different human beings in essence, and gives spirit animals life through AI agents, through scenarios that correspond to something similar to like the life movie that corresponds to the personal brand that's trying to be given some life through like spirit animals being made into a movie, if you will, through life in of itself, through the ability to make the vehicle into things that breathe life into the spirit animal of a unique fingerprint of a person, of a human being, by making the scenarios that are added up to and written in and written upon by AI agents that then therefore can add up to each other like a script, if you will, to try to get to a result like the end of a movie, to try to equal some kind of a movie and a result in a resolve that somewhat is aligned with like movies and the movies of the past, movie making of the past, to equal like a script being sort of aligned with like a business plan that's different from the movie industry, if you will. And so there's just sort of that alignment, and sort of scenarios is the word to be able to try to align scenes in a movie or a TV show that connects with any given business based on scenarios and AI agents connecting the dots through various data that's necessary to comb through, and various statistics that are difficult for one mind of a human to be able to consider, to then try to move through that, get through that, and just make some decisions to ultimately make vehicles on behalf of the human and a personal brand and a spirit animal sort of brand mindset outcome conceptualization. And that is almost an addition to last night's podcast, as well as how it ended and ends with the idea and ideation that AI agents and AI, to be able to make a decision is like the one thing that like ultimately, in contrast to not making a decision, is one of the higher value elements to making these vehicles that are uniquely customizable and difficult outside of having a consultant, if you will, to try to be able to make some kind of vehicle to try to work towards some kind of outcome after all in the end. And that is all for now, more or less, I suppose. Thanks again, Dinky T, Change for Games, and Dinky Tech and Change for Games Studios. And that's all. Bye. Peace. Bye. And let's all remember to push for world peace every single day. Let's all remember to push for world peace every single day. Let's push for world peace every single day. And also, let's remember to try to clear the animal shelters. Let's clear all the animal shelters in the world. Let's clear all the animal shelters in the world, because we can foster all the shelter animals. We can adopt all the shelter animals in the world. We can rescue all the shelter animals in the world. And we can also hire the shelter animals as healers. We can also hire the shelter animals as healers all throughout the world, so that they don't have to be mistreated in animal shelters. And we can clear the animal shelters, and we can hire the shelter animals as healers throughout our communities. Hire the shelter animals as healers throughout our communities, because they also work for free, and they could use better purpose and use better jobs and be able to add value and be therapeutic energy for humans and humanity, to help us be more harmonious as humans and among humanity for all the animals in the world, to clear all the animal shelters, to try to get them to transition their energy in terms of therapeutic energy to all humans, so we can clear the animal shelters, to add value to humanity in terms of harmony if possible. And let's push for world peace every single day and clear the animal shelters every day. That's all for now. Thanks again, Dinky Tech and Change for Game Studios. Bye. Peace. Bye.